Hey everyone, welcome to the episode number 6 of Bhavika and Laurisia's Chat Show. We have a very special guest today. That's Aditya Maheshwari. He works at AppsFlyer as head of customer success. He's being joined by both of us. I'm just giving a quick introduction of both of us already, like you know us already, but just for a quick introduction, I'm Bhavika. I work as a customer success manager at Algonomy. And yes, Lotte, over to you for your introduction.
Yes, I work for Beeline as a customer success manager and a growth manager. Um, so yeah.
And the topic for the today's episode is renewals and risk management. With this, I would want Aditya to give a little brief about his experience and how does he like how much experience does he have in customer success and what does he bring to the table. And over to you, Aditya, with this.
Awesome. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's really an honor to come on this show, and I hope that we will, do justice to the topic that is risk and renewals. But before we get into that, a little bit about me. I actually started as a marketer, focusing on B2B growth, and later, came into the customer success world. So you could say that I'm a marketer first and CSM second, very, very passionate about both marketing and customer success. I lead Appsflyer's customer success teams in India, and I've been with the company for almost 4 years now. And in the last few years, our India business has grown very rapidly, given better, faster access to internet, cheaper handsets in the market, and just I think general advancements in the mobile phone technology. And I remember that our India team actually started with one CSM, and today we are a team of 12 here in India. So over these last 4 years, I've had the opportunity to work with some of our biggest and I think most strategic customers. I've led some very complex technical integrations, but lately my focus has been hiring, onboarding, and I think enabling CSMs. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Awesome. Glad to know that. Glad to know that. And we are very happy to invite you here on this show today because there's so many people out there who want to know more about renewals and risk management. People are actually more confused these days that does renewal fall under the KRA of a CSM or not as well. So we want to know more about it from you. And with this, just to give more info about the rounds that we have in this chat show, there'll be 4 rounds for this chat show. The first round, we let Aditya take the stage and he'll help us with some insights on this topic. Second round would be a rapid fire round where we'll have different questions for Aditya, and we'll see that how he actually performs on those bits. Apart from that, there is a dilemma situation, and then we have the last round, which is called the question of the day. So I hope that's fine, like right, Aditya?
Absolutely. Let's
Okay.
do
With
this.
So with this, let's go with our first round, wherein we need to know more from you about risk and renewal management and how should a CSM actually be in that place.
Sure. So maybe let me start by actually saying that in the customer success role, we often talk about, hey, CSM's job is to bring value to the customers, and we do not talk as often about bringing value to the internal teams.
Right.
But actually, CSMs bring in a lot of value to the internal teams and to the company. And while in some ways it is imperative that if you are adding value to the customer business, your business will grow along with you will add value to your business. But it's just that it's not explicitly talked about.
Right.
So, if I were to define the CSM role, I would say two things.
Mhm.
Grow the customer's business. That's what, you do. And then grow your own business, right?
Right.
So I'm a fundamental believer in the fact that business is about creating those win-win situations. And I know that in some of your previous episodes, you focused on customer value, you focused on EBRs, and which
Right.
is why when we were initially talking about it, I thought risk and renewals would be an interesting topic.
Top. Yeah.
So I initially came with a school of thought that revenue should be owned by CSMs. So if I make, $2 million for the company, that revenue should be owned by the CSMs. But I think over time, after a lot of discussions, brainstorming sessions with customer success leaders, with industry experts, now I firmly believe that CSM shouldn't own revenue, right? So the purpose of the CSM role is lost in some ways if you are a commercially driven customer success manager. But I also realized that while they shouldn't own revenue, they should own predictability in revenue. So if I'm raising that $100,000 worth of invoice, is it going to come next month? Is the payment going to come in? That's something that the CSM should be able to answer. And given customer success managers are closest to the customer, they probably are in a best place to answer that question for the company. So that's where I think the predictability aspect comes into the picture. And risk and renewals, in my opinion, are the two areas in which we can bring in the predictability that I just talked about. So maybe let's start talking a little bit about risks. So, let's say somehow you manage to find out that your competitors are pitching at one of your accounts, right? That's a risk. And maybe you found out that one of your products is actually not doing its job, but probably doing more damage than adding value. That's another example of a risk. And maybe a slightly unusual risk, your champion on a customer side, he or she is leaving, and now you don't have a champion. So that's another sort of a people risk. And I think that CSM, as a CSM, our job is to highlight these risks as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, and irrespective of whether you can manage it on your own, or you need your team's help to be able to manage these risks, or your sales counterparts to be able to sort of handle these things. A good thing is to highlight these risks on time, right? So a good way to highlight risks would be to mark an account as red. The customer health is deteriorating, and you mark the account as red, or you open up a red flag. And I believe that the idea of opening these red flags is basically twofold. One, the risk getting highlighted on time every time. That is very important. That's the first step. And I think later on, the risk being managed in a methodical way with some amount of cadence to ensure that we are able to bring this to closure. We don't lose focus and we close this risk, right? So I sometimes tell people internally also that the mindset should be that red flags or risks aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? Only if you know, only if you are highlighting, will you move to a place where you will be able to close the risk or handle that risk. So I, sometimes tell people that it's all right. Risks need to be highlighted very quickly. And then I recommend people to think about what these risks are. What can be the impact? Is the impact, a tough conversation that can be handled? Is the impact a churn? Or is the impact a wide wave of customers leaving you because your product maybe sucks, right? So that's how you think about risks. And I think another two sort of points that I mentioned very briefly is one, the methodical approach. So start understanding the risk, understand what you should do to sort of dig deeper, and what should be the steps to resolve this risk. And later on, cadence, maybe on a weekly, bi-weekly or monthly basis, revisiting and trying to find out what was done, what needs to be done next to sort of bring this risk to closure. And I think I remember this one time where we nailed the process of getting the risks highlighted to the larger team. And I remember a large part of our account list actually became red flag accounts. So we'd figured out the process of highlighting risks, but what we'd not figured out was the methodical approach to close these risks or to bring these risks to closure. So then we started a weekly meeting. And I think within 4 to 6 weeks, we made a significant progress. We would find out what is happening in this account, what was done, what needs to be done next to sort of bring this risk to closure. So that's I think, little bit about risks. And I think another thing that I want to highlight is the power of leadership connects, the power of executive connects. There are those people on the customer side and on your business side as well, who, call shots, who basically sign those agreements, sign those contracts, right? So in large enterprise deals, there are multiple people at play, multiple relationships to manage. And in a lot of cases, CSM alone will not be able to manage these relationships alone. And which is why you need to collaborate with your leaders on the customer side and get them face time with each other. right? So the power of these executive relationships when things are at risk is immense. So make sure customer side executives and executives on your side are connected. And I think maybe this would be a good way to manage risks.
Right.
Before we get into renewals, do you want to ask anything? What do you think about the process that I highlighted?
To be very honest, Aditya, I love the process that you mentioned, and I definitely agree with you here that as a CSM, you might need to collaborate with a lot of people. Like anyway, CSM is a role on fire. You connect with a lot of people, a lot of teams, and if you have people with you can collaborate with, it actually removes the burden as well. You get two hands out there, and you can actually handle the customer well. One question that I was curious to ask you, Aditya, you mentioned that there is one risk involved with people. For example, I was connected with a POC in the customer's company, and he or she has left the company, and I was just involved with just one POC. I was just talking to one of them. Like this is a very interesting question because this has been asked by so many people in so many forums, that how should you avoid this risk? Either from the beginning you should be in touch with a lot of other POCs, or what else can we do here to mitigate this risk, Aditya? Like in your opinion, do you have any thoughts to share with us here?
Sure. So I'm a big believer in something that we call account mapping, right? I need to
Right.
know who are the users, who are decision makers across departments. So think about it from an AppsFlyer perspective. Our product is used by product managers, marketeers, data people, right? So I
Right.
don't want to be in that state where we are just talking to one person in the
Right.
account. And if we are in that state, then I push our CSMs to make more connects, to build more relationships, to get
Right.
to know that account better, right? So that I think is a fundamental step. But
Right.
if you're not able to do that, then I think as soon as you figure out that your POC is leaving, your champion is leaving, uh, have a conversation, figure out who should you be talking to next, and if possible, like best case scenario, have your POC actually do an introduction before they leave the organization. That makes, I think, the building of those relationships a little bit better. I think you take less time if that happens. But if you've not been able to get that, then I think who signed the contract, go back, try to talk to those people, and then build those relationships with the users. So that's, I think, my opinion about relationships.
Right. And also to add to it, Aditya, I feel like when you are actually given an account from sales side, there's always a sales CS handoff. In such situations, you should get in touch with the sales guy, that who was he in touch with, and maybe get some extra contacts and try to be in their touch, maybe on LinkedIn, maybe wishing them just a happy birthday if you see a notification for them that yes, it's their birthday. These things help in building those relationships, and I think that's the key when you are into customer success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any thoughts you want to share, Lotte, here?
No, I agree with what you guys mentioned. So I think we can move forward to the renewals.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think there is a huge debate about who should own renewals. Should it be CSM? Should it be account manager? Should it be salespeople? And I don't want to get into that debate because it's a never-ending one. We'll not be able to sort of close our session today. But I want to say this one thing, that it depends, right? It depends on your company. It depends on the business fundamentals that you believe in. So, for example, we believe in the fact that CSM shouldn't be commercially driven, and which is why they shouldn't own renewals. They should facilitate renewals. They should enable the salespeople or the account managers to be able to close those deals, but they shouldn't own the renewals. So I did this very interesting poll in the customer success community once, and I asked people, when is the ideal time to start preparing for the renewal, for an upcoming renewal? And I think the answer that I received was anytime between 1 to 3 months, like 1 to 3 months before the renewal date. So while this might be 100% correct in case of smaller deals, this might just be the right thing to do. But if you are managing enterprise customers, strategic customers, the focus on renewals, I think it should be a continuous process. So it should always be on the mind of the CSM. And I think, how do you do it? Ask yourself one simple question. Are you helping your customer get business value out of your product? And if the answer to that is a yes, you're probably going in the right direction. And when the renewal comes, it will probably happen smoothly, unless things go dramatically wrong. But if the answer is no, and you know the answer honestly because you are in the closest touch with the customers, in your head, if the answer is no, then you need to buckle up, right? So that's the methodology that I believe in. Now, all of that being said, if you are managing enterprise strategic customers, the renewal process or the preparation for the renewal should start 6 months before you are actually heading for that renewal. And how do you do or prepare for that renewal? At the 6-month mark, have your executives connect with the executives on the customer side, help them, answer whether your product, your activities as a customer success manager are adding business value, and figure out what would it take to accelerate or deliver more of that business value, right? So, and I think, when executives talk, the conversation is a lot more strategic, and which is why it's easier to figure out those things that can add additional business value. So follow up on the items that were discussed in that executive connect or a leadership connect via maybe an EBR or a QBR. So do a business review and highlight that this is what was discussed, and this is what we are giving you now. This is the plan going forward, and this is how we'll continue to add value to your business. 4 months down the line, like 4 months before the renewal, ask yourself again, are you still adding business value? Is the customer likely to renew? And if the answer is yes, again, you're proceeding in the right direction. If the answer is no, then you still have 4 months to, maybe highlight additional business value, right? So if the answer is yes, you continue to do more of what you are doing. You continue to be proactive with the customer. And at the 3-month mark, you start talking to the salesperson that, hey, this is what we did in the last 9 months with this customer. These are the areas that we've impacted. These are the things that we did very well. And these are the things that we did not do so well. And you give them full context and start, having them engage with the customers as well. Because at the end of the day, they will close that renewal deal. They will close that contract. They'll negotiate it for you, right? So involve them in starting like 3 months before the renewal date. 2 months down the line, again, figure out, are you still adding value? Are you still, is it still likely that the customer will renew? And if the answer is yes, then you are definitely getting this renewal done. Just that you need to now provide a final recommendation to the salesperson. You need to tell them, hey, I think this customer will renew at probably this price. These are the features that they will ask for. These are the things that add a lot of value to their business. And these are the things that do not add as much value. So these are your, sort of strengths, weaknesses. These are my recommendations to follow in the renewal process. So that, I think, in my opinion, how renewal should function.
Got it, Aditya. Thank you, Aditya, for answering these great questions. We got a great insight on renewals and risk management, and I definitely loved it. There were different perspectives to it, and I love that. I hope my audience also loves that. With this, let's go to the next round of this chat show, which is called the rapid fire round. Just giving you a disclaimer, we will not be able to provide any hamper if you got all of them right. But yes,
that's
so
too
let's
bad.
start. We really apologize for the same, and we start with this. Over to Lotte for taking care of the next round. Yes.
All right. So you already mentioned some things about the questions that I will be asking, but yeah, you can elaborate a little bit more about it, but still fast because it's a rapid fire round. So the first question, how long before a contract ends do you start talking about a renewal with your clients?
So I think we covered a little bit, but I'll still say there are 2 phases. The internal preparation, start that as early as like 6 months maybe, but the actual conversation about renewal with customers anywhere between 3 months to 15 days, depending on the complexity of the account, depending upon the complexity of the contract, depending on how long will it take to sign that final deal. So 3 months to 15 days.
All right, perfect. And then how much effort do you put in into the renewal? You already mentioned that you start preparing 6 months, so we already know the timeline, but how much effort do you put in those 6 months?
I think as every SaaS business, we should know that we probably aren't making enough money from the customer in their first year. So typically businesses follow the land and expand strategy, right? So first initially 1-2 years, you will not make money. So put in as much effort as you can to make those additional dollars. And it is important because you will probably only start making money from the second year onwards. So sometimes I'm okay with CSM spending as much as 20-25% of their bandwidth purely on renewals.
All right.
Right.
Right. Going ahead with the next question. Is the amount of risk always related to the chance of a renewal of an account? Very interesting question.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Why is because risks are of multiple kinds, right? So you need to understand what is the kind of risk that you are dealing with and what is the impact that it can have. So like, we were discussing in the beginning, some risks are small, can be, managed by a small fix in the product, maybe a small fix in the service. Some risks are big, they eventually lead to churn. And some risks are too big, they lead to like a wave of churn. So not necessarily, but it can definitely lead to churn if not managed properly.
Right. Got it. Next question. What is the biggest risk factor you have to take into account when managing an account as a CSM? Of course, there are different that you mentioned already, Aditya, but what would be one that biggest risk factor which you would want to quote?
I think the biggest is not enough value, right? So if, see the customer is paying you $100,000, and if the value that they are getting out of it is not 2, 3, 10x of the money that they are paying you, cannot be quantified in dollars to that much.
Right.
I'm afraid, this is like the biggest risk that you can have in your account. So value, usage, adoption, I think these are the things that you should push for, and these can be your biggest risk factors.
Right. Got it. Got it. So Aditya, you passed with flying colors. We do not have a hamper for you, but definitely you passed with flying colors. Moving ahead with the next round, which is called the dilemma situation. Over to you, Lode.
Okay, so yeah, I can imagine that you have to put more time into an account with a lot of risk, but of course there are always limits. We already talked about how risk is related with the chance of renewal, but how is risk related with the amount of time you put into an account?
Mm-hmm. So very, very interesting question, I think, first of all. And I think obviously a dilemma situation, right? So when our accounts are at risk, and I think they have some probability of churn, we as CSMs, we start putting in a lot of effort there, right? But it's extremely important to find a balance. You don't manage just one account, but you manage 20 others. So how do you find a balance such that you are able to mitigate the risk here and also not put your other accounts at risk? So I think that probably is the balance that you need to find. If I manage accounts, I like to be in that state where I'm very proactive and I avoid risks as much as possible, because these last minute situations can really be troubling and hard to manage. So I think balance is probably the key. And as a CSM, try to be that efficient project manager. When you have to deal with a situation, try to time it well, try to manage it as a project to avoid these last minute rushes.
All right, that's clear. Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. Okay. And it's like I said, it's a dilemma. It's you have to keep a balance. it's not always easy to keep a balance, because you always want to bring a success to the clients, that you want to see them successful too, and you want to do everything possible for them. But sometimes you have to keep in mind your other clients and your time, and
Right.
yeah, it is always a little bit give and take and finding a balance, like you said. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Moving on with the last round of this chat show, which is the question of the day. So the question says, what are all the factors you have to take into account when evaluating the risk of an account? So I know, Aditya, you mentioned about the risks, but and of course it will differ also from account to account, but some factors which are common and a CSM should take into account when evaluating the risks, what would be there?
So I think the first is figure out whether it's a product risk. Is it, a missing feature? Is it a capability that does not exist today? Whether it's a service issue, not on time, every time support, not enough value. Is it a pricing issue? Is it like a competitor threat that you are dealing with? Or is it a people issue? We talked about somebody leaving earlier. Or is it something completely different, like maybe a bankruptcy? In that case, also, you will eventually have a risk. So I think these are the broad factors: product, service, pricing or commercial, competitor threats, people, and some other things that really need to be evaluated. And based on what you've decided, like what the core area of risk is, you need to figure out who will be able to help you internally and externally to bring this risk to closure. Set for yourself a timeline that this is by when you want to close this risk, and then project manage towards that timeline.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it, Aditya. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Thank you so much,
All
Aditya.
right.
We had a great chat show with you, and I'm very sure that our audience would love this when it gets released.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you so
glad
much
to
for
hear.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.